Hey guys, I hope all is well. Thank you for joining me for this Truth Talk episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about T.I. and Tiny's dark past. But before we begin, I just wanted to let my Patreons know a new video is dropping later tonight about a top Hollywood agent whose son was recently caught dumping a body. Unfortunately, I will not be able to post this here on YouTube due to what I get into. So if you're a Patreon member, make sure you remember to check it out later tonight. Thank you all. Now let's get right into it. T.I. is one of the biggest rappers to ever come out of Atlanta. He had a massive career in the 2000s with countless hit songs. When it comes to Southern rap, T.I. is definitely one of the faces. Although his music career has slowed down, he still managed to remain in the spotlight throughout all these years. Recently, he has been all over headlines after a viral video showed them arguing with his son King at an Atlanta Falcons game. Many were shocked to see T.I.'s son disrespect his parents on live for the world to see. While all the blogs and news outlets are talking about this situation, they seem to have forgotten about some serious accusations made against T.I. and his wife Tiny back in 2021. Accusations made by more than 30 different women. While platforms like Complex invited T.I. and his son after the viral incident to capitalize on the virality, they failed to question T.I. on these allegations. Back in March of 2021, a lawyer by the name of Tyrone Blackburn were representing 11 people who were suing T.I. and his wife Tiny for SA and many other disturbing allegations. The victims all had very similar stories that painted T.I. and Tiny as sick monsters who were into some dark, disturbing activities. According to the lawyer, the crime spanned over a period of 15 years, starting all the way back in 2005, lasting into 2018. On behalf of his clients, the lawyer was accusing T.I. and Tiny of forcing these women to take substances and then SAing them after they were sedated, claiming these crimes happened in Florida, Georgia, and in LA. Eventually, the police would even open up a criminal investigation into the allegations, but due to the statute of limitation, the criminal investigation was dropped. Similarly to how when T.I. got caught with all those weapons and was facing 10 years, but somehow managed to get his sentence dropped to just 1 year in community service. In total, 30 people came forward to expose T.I. and Tiny, with 17 of those suing him for crimes against them. All of these allegations started when a woman by the name of Sabrina Peterson came out and accused T.I. of threatening her with a weapon by pointing it at her head. She also then revealed private DMs sharing more than 30 detailed accounts of women who claimed T.I. and Tiny were giving them substances and then having their way with them. One of the women was suing T.I. for a 2005 altercation, but she remained anonymous, still providing the story on what happened to her. She claims back in 2005, she was invited to go party with T.I. and Tiny at a club. When she got to the club and started having a good time, she claims she was approached by Tiny, who offered her a sip of her drink. The victim claims she only took 2 sips from Tiny's drink and was then invited back to T.I. and Tiny's hotel room along with a few other girls. According to this victim, shortly after they arrived, T.I. dismissed the girls he had invited, deciding to only keep the victim. This is when the woman claims T.I. and Tiny invited her to the bathroom to freshen up, in which all 3 of them took a shower. From the bathroom, things moved into the bedroom, and this is when the woman claims she started becoming uncomfortable. According to the victim, after T.I. allegedly used his foot to touch on her private area, she became sick and disgusted, claiming that she immediately got up and went to the bathroom to throw up. She then claims to have passed out and woke up in the bed the following day, feeling pain in her private area. She was able to leave the next morning and spoke to her friend who was with her at the club and also had drank from Tiny's drink. Her friend reported feeling sick as well after drinking her drink, implying that there might have been something in their drink. As proof, the woman provided to authorities intimate details about the couple, such as a piercing Tiny had down there and the way T.I.'s junk looked. Another woman who came out with similar accusations against the couple was a woman by the name of Rochelle Jenks. Rochelle, similar to the last woman, claims T.I. and Tiny gave her substances and then had her way with her. According to Jenks, she met Tiny back in 2010 at a Las Vegas airport. She claims Tiny similarly approached her and asked her if she wanted to hang out with her and T.I. later. The woman agreed and then went to meet up with Tiny and T.I. at a hotel they were staying at. This is when she claims that Tiny allegedly gave her a shot, and soon after she drank it, she started becoming dizzy. After taking the shot, she alleges that T.I. gave her substances and began to have his way with her. She claims that she tried to refuse T.I. as she felt he was moving too fast, but she claims he didn't take no for an answer and began to do what he wanted. Jenkin then claims that women were coming in and out of the room, and T.I. was allegedly having his way with all of them. Jenkins also claims that after it all went down, T.I. allegedly wouldn't let her leave as he took her ID and made her travel with him on his tour bus, claiming she was made to hook up with T.I. on many occasions. Jenkins believed that shot they gave her sedated her, and everything that happened thereafter was without her sober consent. These were 2 of the 30 people who came out and exposed T.I. and Tiny. All the accusers seem to have similar allegations against the couple. T.I. and Tiny both deny the allegations, with T.I. posting on his Instagram that everything he did with his wife and others was consensual. It's been 2 going on 3 years since the allegations were made. While T.I. did lose his reality show and was removed from the Ant-Man Marvel movie, he was not cancelled, nor did he face any criminal charges or took a hit to his public image. The investigation was eventually dropped, and it doesn't seem like T.I. ended up paying any of his alleged victims. Now, even though this was all alleged, I believe where there's smoke, there has to be a fire. Over 30 different people came out and alleged T.I. and Tiny were behaving like this. I myself believe that there's some truth to these stories. It wouldn't make sense for all these women to come after T.I. and Tiny with the same story and also provide some proof that this happened. As it appears, what quote-unquote saved T.I. from the investigation was the statute of limitation that had passed. But to me, I think it has more to do with what T.I. is connected to. See, T.I. is one of the biggest rappers in the South. At one point in his career, he was the biggest rapper out of the South. We know on this channel when celebrities make it to the heights T.I. make it to, you have to take the oath. And I believe this is what protected T.I. just like it protected Diddy. T.I. was accused of very similar activities that Diddy has just been recently exposed for. Diddy was accused by Cassie of giving her substances and then making her participate in freak-offs. T.I. and Tiny are being accused of giving women substances and then having their way with them. This is what those in the industry are into, and it's because they all take the same oath. It is not a coincidence that T.I. is being accused of the same things Diddy is. This is common in that dark world. We saw a few episodes back that many other celebrities are also being accused of this exact same thing. This is because just about everybody in the industry are occultists. Occultists who follow Aleister Crowley and practice what is called sex magic rituals. This is why we see Hollywood obsessed with sex. To those in Hollywood, it's a religion. It appears to me that T.I., just like Diddy, is more than likely a Thalemite who practices those rituals with his wife and others. It's obvious T.I. took the oath, even though he tries to deny it. In an interview from a few months back, T.I. does exactly that, deny that he was involved. As you heard for yourself, T.I. claims he was never a part of the Illuminati, saying he's against authority, which is honestly a dumb point. While T.I. is denying his involvement, we can see that Derek literally has the Eye of Horus tattooed on his forehead, clearly indicating he's an occultist. I believe this conversation was made to hide the truth in plain sight. T.I. is denying his affiliation to the Masonic Order, while the person he is interviewing literally has Masonic symbols tattooed on his head. This explanation by T.I. is laughable. We know that the oath he took not only got him out of all of these allegations, but spared them from having to do 10 years all those years back. You don't get 3 Grammys in the music industry without being chosen and taking the oath. Now, watching T.I. go viral with this recent situation with his son is interesting to me. Here is King, T.I.'s rich-born son, claiming to be a gangster who grew up in the struggle.
I know you. What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business. You know I stand on business. Why you even letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting somebody play with me like that? Why you letting him play with me like that? Why you letting him play with me? No, ain't no joking. Ain't no joking. What do you mean? You are embarrassing.
This is an obvious example of how the agenda affects people. King, who grew up privileged and rich in a mansion, wants the world to believe he is a gangster who's in the streets. This is what I talk about often. It's not always their circumstances that make people turn to the streets, it's their influence. King had a good life, and instead of acting like someone who had it all, he wanted to be looked at as someone who was gangster and struggled. He didn't have a shortage of food growing up or bills his parents couldn't pay. He had no need to turn into a quote-unquote gangster. What made him into a fake gangster was the agenda the music industry pushes. He grew up watching and listening to rappers talk gangster, and now wants to do the same. It's the same with the kids in the hood. Where I grew up in the Bronx, just about everyone I knew was struggling. I myself knew people who did not have any food in their fridge and were living off of Section 8. They ate once a day if that, and still never turned to the streets because their mom didn't let them consume hip-hop music. Being poor and from the hood doesn't make people commit crimes. What they look up to and allow themselves to be influenced by is what guides them to the street life. King is the perfect example of this. He wants to be a gangster so bad because the music makes it look like if you're not a gangster, you're a loser. It's also sad to see how T.I. and Tiny raised their son. It's clear he lacks respect for his parents, as he was disrespecting them on his live for all of his followers to see. This is sadly what our world is coming to. People treating their parents with zero respect. I'm not gonna put all the blame on King either, because if King was raised by T.I. and Tiny, and this is what they're accused of doing, I could only imagine what he saw back at home. Just think about the parties that went on in their home. Just think about what he witnessed while living there. While they were arguing, they were making fun of him for not wanting to stay with them and wanting to stay with his grandma. I believe this could have been because of all King was seeing while he was staying with his parents. So many kids in the industry end up messed up from what they see their parents do. Just take a look at Jaden and Willow Smith, who were obviously affected by their parents' lifestyle. King is a product of Tiny and T.I., and who knows what he was put through while he was growing up. While everyone is talking about the situation at the game, what they should be talking about is all those allegations that were made about Tiny and T.I., instead of acting like it never happened. We need answers, as it's important for people to know what these two are really up to. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.